Hi, Chris Duff over at Serious Land Capital, vacant land funding partner. Today, kind of live, more reaction podcast. You're recording this on April 3rd, 2025. Obviously, a lot of market turmoil. Probably some of the most that we've seen in 5 years since like those very early days of COVID where everything shut down. We'll see how this plays out. I think it's hard not to, even if you don't have like direct exposure to various public equities and so forth, not to feel some level of trepidation, just where are things going, various uncertainty and wondering whether you can make it through and so forth. All of those are kind of natural feelings. Humans were social creatures, right? So, fear and uncertainty tend to spread, and clearly that's been impacting the markets, probably for good reason. We're in pretty unprecedented territory. That's we really haven't seen. You see all the reporting, these tariff levels and so forth. I haven't seen anything like this in like over 100 years. And so a lot that can not necessarily be predicted at the moment. But for us, I don't think anybody would view this as like an ideal scenario. It makes pretty much everything harder from a economical perspective. Fortunately, within our business, we're dealing with domestic assets. It's literally U.S. land. So there's no risk of tariff from that side directly impacting the business. Yes, indirectly, of course, it can impact, especially the dispo side would be a concern, and where are people going to put their funds to use? They're going to tighten their belts potentially and so forth. Are we going to plunge into a recession? Who knows? All that is kind of up in the air at the moment. I was commenting a lot about this on the Land Daily Diligence earlier, and I know there was some stats thrown around, hey, the world economy and the U.S. economy, they're massive. They don't necessarily change overnight. Yes, the public markets are like a really loud indicator, but it's only representative of like a little over 3,000 companies out of millions around the country. So we have to keep that in mind. Plus, imports are only about 10% of the total U.S. Economy. So yes, that is an impact. There's no doubt about it. But is it going to be as large from a dollar for dollar perspective as it might seem just from a sentiment perspective? But that's actually the key here, is that if consumer and business sentiment continues to drop, it can just be a vicious cycle and a flywheel effect that can plunge us into a recession, even if again, on like actual dollars being impacted by tariffs, it's less direct than what might otherwise be the result, just, accounting for the psychology of it all. So that's something to watch out for here. Within our business, though, we've just found, hey, we're still able to move forward here. Even just yesterday, we went under contract to sell a property for almost $1 million. They were supposed to exit in like roughly 4 months. Very well financed buyer too, so we're not concerned from a financing side. We're set to close selling another property end of next week. I just sent out another wire for like $5K earlier today, buying a property we've been working on for months. Super long close process. It's a whole story in and of itself, but that market is still looking really good at the moment. There's another property that we just purchased roughly a week ago in Alabama that already has very strong buyer interest, might be under contract even within the next couple of days. So just going to show that with the right assets can still move. We're staying focused on what we can control, and that's all we can really do. I, again, totally understand the sentiment. Hey, just world's ending, et cetera, et cetera. And we've definitely fallen into that trap before. There are definitely some rough times in 2022. Inflation crisis really started hitting, and where you kind of wondered, should we just like sit on the sidelines here and wait for things to change? And I think that's a James Cameron quote, is like, hope is not a strategy. And you can just sit around waiting, and we nearly went out of business doing that versus like taking, strong informed action, because like the waiting game, just tried it. I don't know anybody who really benefits longer term, especially entrepreneurs when you're trying to run a business, like sitting around waiting, like it's just it doesn't actually accomplish anything. Yeah, you might need to change some strategies here and there, pivot as needed, be more cautious about what type of assets you're buying. But like sitting around just like, woe is me, macroeconomy has just got me down. I mean, remember last year, everybody was saying survive till 25. And now, now look at the economy, even compared to last year, we'd probably take last year over what's going on right now. And then it's like, man, when's this going to end? And then all of a sudden, like years of just your prime working days are just passing by where you're not taking the actions necessary to get to the next step and control what you can control. So I think that's just a slippery slope. If you start finding yourself there psychologically, remember speed of recovery is just critical for high performers. Something to keep in mind, like, yeah, you got to combat the overall feeling. Again, I don't think anybody's feeling good about it. It's just, there's those of us who are going to keep moving forward and those of us who won't, and they're going to fall by the wayside. Look at how many times in human history where, yeah, there were just huge environmental, economical changes, sometimes lasting for many years, decades. I mean, look at almost 100 years ago. Do you think anybody, that was, again, kind of in the prime of their careers, like some of us, I would include myself, entering into like 1929, and then economy really didn't recover until like the mid 1940s. You're looking at like 15 years of going through a massive depression and then a world-spanning war before things really started to turn the corner from an economy side. Like, who knows? I hope something like that wouldn't necessarily be as long in modern economy like ours. But what if we really had to buckle down for the next 15 years, like really rough economy where you just had to like scramble and stay focused to survive? Like, ask yourself, are you up for that? Like, that might be the environment that we're in. Like, some people are still going to find a way through, right? Humanity, we made it through 1930s, made it through the 1940s. We're still here, still managed to thrive after that. It's definitely a rough ride. Like, I wasn't around then, but understandably, a lot of people were in a really tough space, and that was the nature of being born in that era, and you kind of have to deal with, again, what you can control with those overarching situations. So that's what I try to remind myself of, how to approach situations like this, and just understanding, okay, that Jim Rome quote, and my coach Trevor McGregor would remark on too, is that don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Like, I play that in my mind all the time, because it's so easy to just be thinking, man, I could have been adjusting, I could have made so many other better decisions here, and this just not going well, like, just blaming these other people. Why are like government making these decisions, and it's making everything so much harder, blah 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 blah. I get that. Like, those are just those negative thoughts that can creep up and start destroying everything within your life if you're not careful. Or again, you can just acknowledge that, and then also buckle down and realize, okay, does that mean that every single person out there is not going to be able to succeed? Are there some that are going to come out better from this than others? Inevitably, yes, because that's the nature of every crisis or difficult time within human history. So are you going to be one of those that buckle up and figure out, okay, what are the next steps that I need to take to be better? Or are you just going to wish that things were easier and get nothing done? So hopefully this is helpful here. Yeah, I mean, again, we have a good community together here. We're all moving forward. My business is moving forward. We're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk. Like I just told you, we're closing on stuff, buy side and sell side, moving forward, because we know the right assets are still going to have a market, and that's all we can do. With that in mind, if you're looking for funding, seriousland.capital. Just got off my Land Daily Diligence Facebook group, zero cost review of your land deals just before recording this, and landpricer.ai for the most simple and accurate way to price land. A lot more updates coming there. Totally revamped. Have to make it more fast and efficient. That's another update coming here shortly based on feedback I've been getting. But, again, that's the nature of it. Have to be better. With all that in mind, subscribe and share. Looking forward to next time. Take care. Bye.